These women were once icons of beauty. In this video, you'll see how they looked in old age, then in their prime, and now brought back to life. Constance Collier was more than a stage actress. She trained legends and shaped the future of Hollywood from behind the scenes. Evelyn Nesbit was the first real American celebrity scandal, a model, a showgirl, and the center of a deadly love triangle that landed her in every newspaper headline before she turned 20. Lillian Russell was the golden voice of American operetta and weighed nearly 200 pounds, but was still considered the beauty ideal of her time. She made big hair and curves fashionable. Maud Feely was in over 80 silent films with hair like waves of gold. She married 3 times, acted for 5 decades, and still managed to stay almost completely out of tabloids. Cleo de Merode was the original influencer. Her photos were mass-produced, admired, and even stolen across Europe. She wasn't an actress or a singer, she just had a face people couldn't forget. Miss Stingette was France's highest-paid female performer. Her legs were insured for £1 million. She sang with grit, winked at kings, and outlived every lover she had. Tamara Karsavina helped invent modern ballet. She danced with Nijinsky, co-founded the Royal Ballet, and trained generations of stars, long after she herself left the spotlight. Maud Allan danced like no one else, barefoot, intense, and erotic. Her vision of Salome thrilled Europe and terrified conservatives. They sued her, she won, and kept dancing in silk and fire. Marie Doro looked like a porcelain doll, but she hated fame. She starred in silent films and on stage, then vanished completely, choosing a quiet life over the chaos of celebrity. Carolina Otero seduced kings, wore diamonds gifted by dukes, and was rumored to bankrupt men with a glance. But near the end, she said beauty brought her more pain than joy. Clara Bow burned through the silent era like a comet. The it girl of the 1920s, she lived fast, laughed louder, and crashed hard when the talking pictures came, and she couldn't follow. Ingrid Bergman had the face of an angel and the career of a legend, but in 1950, her affair with a married director got her blacklisted. She won her way back with 2 more Oscars. Gladys Cooper played dozens of elegant women in old Hollywood. But before that, she was a teenage stage star in London, praised for both her manners and her refusal to play dumb. Anita Page was once dubbed the girl with the most beautiful face in Hollywood. She received more fan mail than Greta Garbo, but gave it all up at age 23 without regret. Ethel Barrymore came from the most famous acting family in America. She ruled Broadway, refused to be just another starlet, and lived long enough to win an Oscar on her terms. Gertrude Miller was the toast of Edwardian musical theater, famous for her charm and comic timing. Her sudden death shocked Britain and left behind a mystery about what really happened. Mary Pickford built Hollywood. She wasn't just America's sweetheart. She co-founded a studio, ran her own business, and ruled the box office long before women were allowed real power. Joan Crawford wasn't born glamorous. She made herself that way. A studio creation with steel ambition. She won an Oscar, clashed with everyone, and outlasted every man who doubted her. Claudette Colbert had a voice made for the talkies and a face that looked perfect from one angle, literally. She demanded to be filmed only from her left side. It worked. Billie Burke is best known as Glinda the Good Witch, but before Oz, she was a Broadway darling and married to America's top showman. After he died, she paid off his debts herself. Lily Elsie was so beautiful, she couldn't walk London streets without causing crowds. She starred in The Merry Widow, married a nobleman, and left showbiz when it stopped being fun. Ethel Clayton made over 180 silent films, often playing smart, independent women. When talkies came, she mostly disappeared, but never stopped performing, even into her 60s. Olga Nethersole was an actress, producer, and wartime nurse. She was once arrested for immoral performances, but went right back to touring, rewriting plays, and funding medical work. Vesta Tilley made a career impersonating men on stage, decades before it was accepted. She performed in drag, wore suits better than most men, and raised millions during World War I. Madge Kennedy was a comedian of the silent screen who didn't care for drama. She wore hats better than anyone, delivered deadpan lines, and worked right up through the 1970s. Juanita Hansen was a silent star with ice blonde curls and a scandalous drug habit. She lost everything, got clean, and returned, not to film, but to lecture halls, warning others. Irene Castle was America's first fashion icon. She cut her hair short, wore flowing gowns, and danced with elegance that made her and her husband the Fred and Ginger before Fred and Ginger. Matilda Kshestinska was a prima ballerina and the mistress of the last Russian Tsar. She danced through revolutions, escaped with jewels sewn into her clothes, and taught ballet in exile. Ava Gardner drank, swore, and turned heads in every room. She said what she wanted, dated Sinatra, and never apologized for being the wildest woman in Hollywood. Olga Spesivtseva was a Russian ballerina whose Giselle broke hearts, but backstage she battled mental illness for decades and disappeared from the stage at the height of her power. Agatha Christie wasn't glamorous, but she outsold everyone else on this list. Her face rarely appeared in public, but her words made her the most read novelist of all time. Rukmini Devi Arundale redefined dance in India, rescuing Bharatanatyam from decline. She was one of the first women in parliament and never stopped wearing flowers in her hair. Olga de Meyer was more than a beauty. She was a living work of art, a muse to painters like Boldini, a fashion icon in Parisian high society, and a symbol of decadent elegance. People didn't just admire her, they designed around her. Marian Anderson sang for presidents, kings, and the world. When the Daughters of the American Revolution banned her, she performed at the Lincoln Memorial for 75,000 people instead. Gloria Swanson ruled the silent screen and then played herself in Sunset Boulevard, an aging star refusing to fade. It was acting. It was truth. It was Gloria, still ready for her close-up. Sarah Bernhardt had one leg, 10 lovers, and the fiercest stage presence of the 19th century. She played Hamlet, wore diamonds, and slept in a coffin. Drama was her whole life. Bette Davis wasn't pretty, by Hollywood's rules, but she had the eyes, the voice, and the fight. She won 2 Oscars, made enemies everywhere, and never gave a damn.